Howdy folks, Mr. Reed here, and welcome to one more question. So we're still doing translations, horizontal and vertical, and we're going to be making another graph. This time I'm going to have both a translation horizontally and vertically. We're still going to be using mapping notation. I'm going to say that this is a medium question, and let's get to it. Alright, so if you watch the last one, setup is the same. I'm going to have already written down the general form. G of x is equal to f onto x minus h plus k, and so that gives us the right to left translations as well as up to down translations. Nothing else involved in that general form. I'm using the same function actually, so the 4 points are already written down. And the mapping notation is going to be the same, but I'll talk about that just in case you didn't see it before. So I shouldn't say it's the exact same because actually we have two translations. So the general form of mapping notation would be the same, which I haven't written down yet. But I'll just make up our own mapping notation for this particular one again. So the idea is that we have x comma y is going to map onto a new point. So x comma y just represents any general point that's a part of this function. Specifically, I'm going to use it with the 4 that we have written down already. So what we're going to do is the h parameter is going to affect the horizontal stuff. So in this case, if you had an h, for instance, of 5, you would be moving this 5 units to the right, which means every x value would have 5 added onto it to move it to the right along the number line. In this case, we actually have in our bracket up above, the argument is x plus 1. So the plus 1 actually means that if we had it in the same setup, the same matching look, I guess you could say, to the general form, it would be x minus -1. And so the h value is actually -1, which means we want to move it 1 unit to the left. 1 unit to the left along a number line, or moving to the left along our Cartesian plane, means that we need to subtract 1 from whatever our x value is. So the old x value will have 1 subtracted from it. But we also have a plus 3 for the k value kicking around at the end, so all y values are going to be 3 higher than what they used to be. So we would say that is, y and plus 3. So that y plus 3 is going to take all my y values and raise them by 3 units. So we can follow this recipe, this mapping rule, that will allow us to take these 4 points and turn them into the associated 4 points on the new function. So I'm going to do that by doing the x values all at once. So subtract 1 for each one. -2 subtract 1 is -3. -1 subtract 1 is -2. 2 subtract 1 is 1. And 3 subtract 1 is 2. Now we'll do the y values for those 4. I'm going to add 3 to each one of them. So that's going to give me 7, 3, 4, and 8. Ooh, sorry about that. So we're going to say that those are 4 points. All right, now these 4 points, I'm going to place them on our graph down below. -3, so the x value comes first, the y value next. So -3, comma 7. Make sure I'm placing them in the right spot. -2, comma 3. 1, comma 4. And 2, comma 8. So as I said before, we're going to place connect the dots. Now, I think I'm just going to connect them without letting the straight line tool on the iPad do its thing, because that's it's a little bit awkward, I guess, to allow it snaps to a grid that's actually underneath. Anyway, so it's a little messy, but the form is the same, which is good. So there's been no stretching, no reflection. So it should look like the same function. It's just been moved. And this has been moved 1 unit to the left and 3 units up. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Now, if you wanted to have, instead of talking your way through it every single time, if you wanted to have a general form for this, so what you could do actually, and let me just get rid of this mapping notation up here for just a moment. And if we wanted to create instead a general form for this mapping notation that would allow us to use it every single time without putting a whole lot of thought into it, we would say, well, what we have been doing is adding on the h parameter to the x value every single time. So it's x plus h, whatever that h happens to be. And it also is y plus k, whatever that k value happens to be. So if it's move up 3, that means the k is a value of 3. We want to take our old y value and increase it by 3. So in this case, h and k can be substituted in there so that you just need to identify the parameters h and k and then go from there. All right, folks, if it was good, like, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with me. Take care, folks.